A news hour tonight. PENGASSAN orders gas, crude supply shut down to Dangote Refinery. Scores fear dead as mining pit collapses in Zamfara. Katsina engineer builds indigenous armored carrier. And on the foreign scene, airstrike kills 30 near market in western Niger. Good evening, this is News Hour on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. We'll start off with the industrial dispute between the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria took a dramatic turn on Saturday as the union ordered 7 branches to cut off crude oil and gas supplies to the $20 billion facility. In a letter dated September 26 and signed by its General Secretary Lumumba Okubawa, the union accused the refinery of sacking its members in retaliation for exercising their constitutional right to join the union. The union's move marks an escalation in the standoff, with PENGASSAN accusing the refinery of anti-labor practices and the unlawful sack of its members. In the directive issued to its branch chairman, PENGASSAN instructed its branch chairman in key upstream and midstream oil companies, including Total Energies, Chevron, Seplat, Shell Nigeria Gas, Oando, and Nigerian Gas Infrastructure Company, to immediately cut off all crude oil and gas supplies to the refinery. The directive comes after PENGASSAN alleged that Nigerian workers were sacked by Dangote Refinery after joining the union, claiming that management also withdrew staff bosses and denied entry to locals while allowing expatriates access. In a statement on Friday, the refinery clarified that only a small number of workers were affected by what it described as a reorganization aimed at preventing acts of sabotage within the facility. It said over 3,000 Nigerians remain in employment, rejecting claims of mass layoffs. The Independent Petroleum Market Association of Nigeria has announced that its members would effect a petrol price hike nationwide as Dangote Refinery suspended sales of petrol in Naira. The national president of IPMAN, Abubakar Megandi, who disclosed this in an interview on Saturday, confirmed that the 650,000 barrel per day refinery sent an email to its customers on Friday, including marketers, informing them of the suspension of petrol sales in Naira with effect from Sunday, 28 September 2025. According to him, the implication is that fuel pump prices would go up from their current 865 Naira and 910 Naira per litre in Lagos and Abuja respectively. He said the new price template would be effective from Monday 29 September if the federal government does not address the Naira for crude oil allocation with Dangote Refinery. The company had cited exhaustion of its crude for Naira allocation. This is coming at a time when Dangote Refinery is embroiled in a fresh fight with the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN, over the unjust sacking of 800 workers. Earlier, I spoke with the national president, Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, Billy Gillis Harry. Take a look. Good evening, Dr. Billy Gillis Harry is joining us to further the conversation on the situation with Dangote Refinery and PENGASSAN. Good evening, Doctor. Thank you for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you, Nigeria, for having me.
Okay, Doctor, what can you tell us about this situation with PENGASSAN, this instruction given to this 7 branches not to sell crude or gas to Dangote Refinery? Where's this coming from?
Well, this is what Petron's preliminary call for the government's intervention was all about, that we should be able to resolve issues without it cascading to this point. Clearly, you can see that this is the result of Dangote Refinery just wanting to do only what they want to do. There is nothing wrong with having your staff work in the union. We, even as small as we are, we let our staff to be in the union because it also keeps us in check. Now, every other opportunity Dangote has, he fights anybody. He started fighting with the IOCs, then he fought with NNPC, then he fought to say the government is not selling him crude oil in Nigerian naira, and then now he's having disagreement with the unions, he's having disagreement with DAPMAN, disagreement with the marketers, and now he has added a new uh, fight to the market by now sacking his staff and therefore bringing PENGASSAN on the table to take the decision that they have taken. Now, who are you going to blame?
All right. So now, first of all, I'm sure people are out there are asking questions, and I've had some, comments from honorary Nigerians saying that the government is trying to frustrate Dangote. Is that it? Because that's what it seems to look like to people out there. Is that really the case? One, are there really proof? Or rather, is there proof rather that he fired people? Where are these people? There's 3,000 people, they say, they're fired.
There is a letter he sent to all the staffs, and he published it around the media. Telling those staff, about 800 of them, to be locked out, and then they are not his staff anymore. And he called it restructuring. So, of course, PENGASSAN's reaction is to protect their members, because these are PENGASSAN members by the law. So they are not just PENGASSAN members just by choice, but by the law. They are meant to be protected by their unions. And this is what PENGASSAN was trying to do to make sure that their members are given the right of place. So, of course, if they have been told to stop working, then injury to one, injury to all. So that's what it is. There is really no fact that government is trying to frustrate Dangote. It has always been him crying wolf, crying foul, that government is doing this, NNPC is doing this, IOCs are doing that, there's a cabal, there's a mafia, so all sorts of things. And I don't know why it is so. When all he needed to do was to look for stakeholder partners that will make the job easy for his refinery. And this is what Petron has always stood for, that the government should intervene. Dangote should work very closely with all the stakeholders, because to my knowledge, every member of the industry wants Dangote Refinery to be successful. And the only way we can make it work is that all of us have a part in the division of labor to ensure that it works. So if Dangote all by himself wants to do from refining to storage to distribution and eventually going to be in retail outlets, that's going to be disastrous for Nigeria. And if Nigerians are looking at this with kid gloves, they need to wake up, they need to sit up, that what the concern we as stakeholders have expressed is that we do not want to concentrate so much power in one company's hands. It should be divided to every part of the industry so that Nigerians will be the better for it.
Okay, now this decision by PENGASSAN, what's the impact? What impact are we expecting to see that it would have on actually the refinery and, of course, by extension, Nigerians?
Well, the refinery has put at abeyance PENGASSAN members. Don't forget that only few days ago, it was the Nupeng. Nupeng issue is in the court with them, so it's sub judice. We cannot make any comments on that. But PENGASSAN is a new kettle of fish. So basically what it means is that every other day, Dangote is looking for new territory to conquer. So PENGASSAN has now taken their steps, and of course, it's going to impact negatively on Nigerians. Because the moment crude oil is not supplied to him, the moment gas is not supplied to him to fire his power, but don't forget, he also has a very dependable power system that's much more reliable than what we have in the country. And he's getting gas from Nigeria. So why won't Nigerians buy refined product from him in Nigerian naira? Because the decisions are just too many. One, he kept the PENGASSAN members out of his employment. Then also, he has now instructed that from tomorrow, petroleum products will be sold in the US dollars, even though it was signed just by the group commercial department. Nobody's name was there, but it's emanating from Dangote's refinery and it's coming from the ex-handle of Dangote. So there's no reason not to believe it. So maybe tomorrow there'll be a rethink and it might be rescinded, it might be withdrawn, and Nigeria will be the better for it.
Okay, you've brought us to this conversation now about the thing with Ipman and Dangote, talking about the fact that Ipman is saying by Monday, 4 price hike is going to take place if Dangote decides to sell its refined products in dollars. Now he's citing that the crude he got for the crude for Naira deal has run short. Can you explain that whole concept to us and how this can be mitigated to avoid this situation?
Well, I'm not in a position to discuss or to explain what Ipman's position or Ipman's thought is. I can only talk about what I know. Stakeholders and members who are able to make. Petron is a potpourri of all the organizations. So anyone that ends up having a retail outlet automatically gets into Petron for the services we render. So I can only talk about Petron from beginning to ending. Well, from Petron's perspective, if the sales for crude oil goes on from tomorrow, Sunday, the 28th, and which, of course, many of our members that have already paid for product have not been lifting it. So possibility is that if they are asked to go and change the money, bring in dollar payments for that, that would be a very difficult call. And that certainly would mean that the retail outlets will be dry. And once the retail outlets are not wet, the chances that there'll be scarcity in certain areas or in certain stations across the country will be there. And that certainly will mean that Nigerians will begin to get back to the days when we are battling with weather vagaries and flood and non-availability of products and all of that. So my thinking is that Dangote should have a rethink. The Nigerian government should quickly come into place. The NMDPRA and the Federal Consumer Protection Council, it should come in place and be able to do their work, because these are the two organizations that we rely on at this time. And I believe that government has already set up a committee made up of two organizations that should wade into matters like this so that Nigerians do not suffer for any reason.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Billy Gillis-Harry, for your insights on the situation. Hopefully it's resolved soon and fast.
We hope that it will be resolved as fast as possible. We call on the government to intervene. We call on Dangote to have a rethink. He should have the mindset to work with stakeholders. Every one of us in the industry wants Dangote Refinery to be successful. We know other refineries are coming up, but the bigger, the more, the merrier. And that's what we are hoping to do, and to give Dangote the best of our services.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was... No fewer than 13 bodies have been recovered, while many others are still trapped following the collapse of a mining site in Kadiri village, Waru local government area, Zamfara state. An eyewitness who narrowly escaped death, Sani Hassan, said he was among those fortunate to survive the incident. According to him, he was digging for gold in the pit on Thursday when he suddenly stepped out to drink water. Hassan explained that other miners rushed to the scene to rescue those trapped underground. A local resident said to have been involved in the rescue efforts, Sanusi Owel, told Reuters that no fewer than 13 bodies had been retrieved from that rubble, including that of his cousin. An official of the Zamfara State Miners Association, Muhammadu Isa, confirmed the incident on Friday. Daily Trust Regional Editor Yusho Adamu is joining us via phone call to give us an update on the incident. Good evening and thank you for joining us on NewsHour tonight.
Good evening, how are you?
Ushawa Adamu, please could you give us more concept, more on what happened actually in Zamfara on Thursday?
Well, like you have said, it's a mining pit that collapsed in a village called Kadawi, in Baru local government area of the State. The Kadawi mining site is a big site where hundreds of people, local miners, are conducting their business for several years. So, in the past, the miners have witnessed some incidences of pit collapse, but the recent one is described as the worst because it involves losing several lives of local miners. According to police, so far 13 corpses have been recovered from collapsed pit, and search is being continued. There are some few miners that sustained injuries and were rushed to Moru General Hospital where they were treated and discharged. So this is in summary what exactly happened.
Okay, so far has there been any, government agencies there like the the National Emergency Management Agency, have they been on ground to see to the situation being handled properly?
Yes, like yesterday I spoke with the two residents that confirmed the visit of government officials and the police that have visited the place. But the search or rescue search is purely conducted by the local miners because of the risks that involves. The place, like I have said, is a local mining site, so it's not an official site for mining that government officials can go and start conducting such of courses. So it's the same miners that are conducting the rest under the guide of probably government officials.
Okay. So far, have they been able to, stop any activity from taking place in that area?
Well, of course, even the miners, they are in mourning, so they stop the mining, but officially we have not heard from government whether they have banned any local mining there or not.
Okay, and then the community where this issue has taken place, what's the atmosphere like?
Well, they are in mourning, like I have said. They have lost several lives there. So most of the affected families were at home receiving condolence visitors. So even the local miners, because those that were lost are friends and relatives, so they also joined the family in mourning of their death.
Thank you so much, Yusha Adamu, for the update on the situation in Zamfara. May the souls of the departed rest in peace.
Thank you.
That was the Daily Trust Regional Editor, Yusha Adamu, talking to us about the mining incident that took place in Zamfara State. Still on mining stories, we're going to Plateau State. I apologize for that breaking transmission. Back to our story. Some local miners in Plateau State have acknowledged that tin mining, though profitable, comes with numerous life-threatening risks, despite recurring accidents and the dangers associated with the trade. The miners say it remains their only source of livelihood. Now, Trust TV's Adon Musa visits the mining communities and now reports.
Local mining across several communities in Plateau State has become a major source of income for many families, despite numerous risks. Just last Thursday, 4 people lost their lives in Dura community, Jostad local government area, when a sand pit collapsed on them. Despite such recurring tragedies, many miners insist they have no alternative means of survival and must continue working in the mines. Two miners, Muhammad Ahmad and Yusuf Haladu, who have been in the business for over 5 years, share their experiences.
Garanti ma bai kamata a ce an tsince na wannan gurin ba. Kama saboda yau da gobe abubuwan kayan sawa takalmi riga ci da
I know I am not supposed to be here. Ideally, I should be learning a trade, but because I need to meet basic needs like food and clothing, I have to do this. It is better to come here than to join criminal groups or engage in theft and always be on the run for security agencies. I have been in this business for nearly 7 years. Along the way, we learn how to navigate underground and how to react when a sandpit is about to collapse. People die here regularly, but despite the danger, we have to continue because our families depend on us. The miners also recounted some of their most horrifying experiences, times when they narrowly escaped death, but still choose to return to the pit. I started this business in 2016. One day, I fell into a sandpit and got badly injured. The man who was with me also broke his leg. I had to stop working for a while to recover. But after I healed, I came back. I have no choice. This is what I rely on to survive. When I first started, I didn't understand the risk. One day, the sandpit caved in behind me. At first, I thought it was minor, but soon a larger section collapsed. I quickly turned and ran, and just as my legs came out, the whole pit came down. It would have been the end. Still, I came back. We don't have any other means to survive. For these miners, the risks of the job are outweighed by the need to provide for their families. They say, like every other occupation, mining has its own dangers, but the hope for better opportunities that could one day help them leave the mines behind. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Residents of Maiduguri have expressed divergent opinions over the recent ban on the sale of petrol in jerrycans and plastic bottles. Authorities say the measure is aimed at curbing the illegal supply of filtered terrorists in this state. Trust TV's Beatrice Kurutsi tells us more.
Most fuel stations across Maiduguri metropolis have continued to sell petrol to motorists and tricycle riders, but declined to dispense to those purchasing in jerrycans or plastic containers. The restriction follows reports that fuel was being diverted to Boko Haram terrorists operating in parts of the state. While some residents lament the hardship the ban may cause, others commend the decision, describing it as a necessary step to check insecurity.
The ban will affect many lives because if you run out of fuel and there is no black market nearby, you will be stranded. For those of us who rely on generators, we are now told to push them to the filling station before they can sell to us. The government should really do something because this will affect businesses. The restriction is affecting us seriously because there is no more black market. We used to buy in plastic bottles as reserves in case of emergency, but now that's no longer possible. I'm happy with the restriction because it's for a good cause to help end insecurity. I urge residents to be patient with this development.
Black marketers are also affected by the restriction. A drive around the city shows that many of them were not on site for comment. Meanwhile, the Borno State Police Command is yet to issue an official response to the development as at the time of filing this report. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Armed men suspected to be kidnappers have reportedly abducted 12 passengers traveling in a bus along the Okene-Auchi Road in Kogi State. It was guarded that the victims were on their way from Abuja to Benin City in Edo State when their vehicle ran into an ambush mounted by the assailants. According to local sources, some of the kidnapped victims were newly called to bar lawyers returning to Benin after their ceremony in Abuja. Eyewitnesses said the attackers whisked all the passengers into the bush during the incident, which occurred around noon on Friday. Reports from the area indicate the security operatives swiftly stormed the scene in an effort to rescue the victims and track down the abductors. The police public relations officer of the Kogi State Command, SP William Ayer, confirmed the incident, adding that some of the passengers have been rescued during a counter operation. In Bayelsa, the police command has confirmed that there is overwhelming evidence against George Idumangi, the prime suspect in the murder of real estate agent Richard Ekebu. The Commissioner of Police, CP Francis Idu, assured that justice will take its full course following the suspect's arrest in Lagos and transfer to Yenagoa. Trust TV's Friday Boy Peter completes the report.
Shortly after his arrest, the alleged killer of the Bayelsa-based real estate agent Richard Ekebu was flown from Lagos to Yenagoa via the Port Harcourt International Airport. Upon arrival, a tactical team comprising Operation Puff Adder operatives and the Commissioner of Police Francis Ido met journalists who were eager to hear details of the high-profile arrest. According to the police commissioner, substantial evidence has been gathered linking Just Idumangi to the crime. He disclosed how collaborative intelligence and swift coordination led to the suspect's arrest.
We're coming with corroboration, real evidence, and even circumstantial evidence that is relevant to this matter. The suspect ran away from here, sold his phone, swapped it, got the phone, got the receipt, got the person that he sold the phone to, got his new phone, and with our contacts, with other agencies who are in this with us. Remember in Bayelsa, we work as a team. So it takes me nothing to call the immigration head here.
Responding to questions from reporters, CP Idu said the command is fully prepared to prosecute the case to ensure justice is served. He further revealed that the suspect was intercepted at the immigration office in Lagos while attempting to flee to Togo, emphasizing that there will be no hiding place for criminals operating in Bayelsa State.
This case is the police in Festac that told us not to even bother, because he was heading to Togo. Evidence is real. The evidence you have. Somebody was killed. He called the person trusted him. He killed him, left him like a fleeing poacher. The land is sold to two people. Try to conceal evidence.
Meanwhile, the Bayelsa State Police Command also paraded two other suspects arrested with anti-aircraft ammunition in the state.
The ammunitions are not normal ammunitions. They're not. If you're not in the military, you need to understand the ferocity of that ammunition. It's anti-aircraft gun ammunition. Subject ran away from the heat of battle in the northwest. and he wanted to come and ingratiate himself in this environment.
Items recovered from the suspect include 10 walkie-talkies, pump-action rifles, an international passport, IC tactical team t-shirt, and other incriminating materials. Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
A final parade of honor has been held at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, as a tribute to the former Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, who died on the 31st of August 2025. Senior officers and security chiefs gathered at the police hangar to pay their last respects, marked by a brief parade and final salute. Emotional tributes were delivered by former DSS spokesperson Marilyn Oga, former FCT Commissioner of Police Lawrence Alobi, and the current Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun. The event concluded with a final salute as friends, family, and colleagues departed the police hangar in Abuja.
He was a very good conversationist and very learned. There was no subject matter you were going to talk to him about that he would not be able to speak so eloquently on. We are going to miss him. But I believe he's already set a legacy for the rest of us that are remaining to try to follow. And that is, when you find yourself in office or you find yourself in any position, know that you must make friends. Because it's those friends that will be there for you when you are not there. Those friends will be there for your family when you are not there.
And we're all here to celebrate a great man, a great leader, a great man. A man with outstanding character. When I was fed up, Arase was the PSO. We work as brothers, as one team. A humble man. Very innovative, very creative.
He will be remembered by his legacies of distinguished service to the Nigerian police force and to our nation, Nigeria. Today, as his body departs Abuja in his final journey, we do not just mourn the departure of a former Inspector General of Police, we celebrate a legacy. His life teaches us that every career will end, every tenure will end, but the impact of true service will endure across generations.
You're still on to News Hour on Trust TV. We'll return from the break. Take a look at a Katsina engineer who built indigenous armored carrier. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now a recap of our top stories. We told you that PENGASSAN orders gas crude supply shut down to Dangote Refinery. Scores fear dead as mining pit collapses in Zamfara. Moving on to more stories, Dangote has replied to PENGASSAN. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has strongly condemned a directive issued by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN, describing it as lawless and criminal. In a statement, the refinery forwarded PENGASSAN's order to its branches to cut off gas from crude oil supply lines to the Dangote Refinery and halt loading operations for vessels. The company insists PENGASSAN has no legal right to interfere in its contracts with third-party vendors supplying crude and gas, stressing that such actions amount to criminal conduct and could push the country into anarchy. Dangote further accused the association of abandoning lawful procedures, warning that Nigeria is governed by laws that do not permit self-help or mob action. The refinery says it views the directive as a complete disavowal of PENGASSAN's earlier statement that it would pursue legal action, describing the union's latest move as illicit and disruptive. Dangote Petroleum Refinery maintains it will resist any unlawful interference in its operations. Now, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, on Saturday disclosed that the Abuja-Kaduna passenger train service would resume operations next week. This followed the successful completion of repair and safety checks on the affected section of track at Asham. It would be recalled that the service was suspended after the incident of August 26, 2025, when the train derailed. The Chief Public Relations Officer of the NRC, Callistus Unimado, who confirmed the resumption, however, did not say specifically the day the operation will resume. He stated that further details on the resumption date and schedule will be communicated in the coming days. Motorists and residents in Mararaba axis of Nasarawa State are lamenting the unbearable gridlock caused by the deplorable condition of parts of the Kefi-Abuja highway, where a journey of less than 30 minutes now stretches beyond 3 hours. Trust TV's Abibata Jai reports.
Along the 1 kilometer stretch from Zenith Bank Junction through building materials to Sharp Corner U-turn, vehicles, trucks, and motorcycles struggle daily to navigate the flooded and bumpy road, resulting in endless congestion. Frustrated motorists say the situation is crippling productivity and draining their income, as valuable hours are lost in the traffic every day.
From Maraba to just this AYAS, we spend more than 1 hour. A journey that should be less than 10 minutes. So far.
What would you want the federal government to do?
To fix the road, if possible. Demolish all these plazas. That's the permanent solution. Demolish all these plazas. But it's just that we know who owns them now, so it's difficult.
The road, the traffic is too much. Can you imagine now from Marabajo to this checkpoint? We spend more than 3 hours, 30 minutes. People are suffering. People are suffering in this Maraba road. And people inside, even people that are working in that, they don't know that people are suffering here. You buy for 20,000 from here to town. A journey of 30 minutes. You spend 4 hours.
Cannot go at least 2 tons a day. The road is very, very bad. We are suffering a lot. Government should help us. We don't know what to do again. Even our vehicle cannot last up to at least minimum 6 months. Everywhere is condemned. So we are begging the government, please help us.
Some residents, unable to endure the gridlock, have resorted to trekking long distances just to meet up with their daily routines.
The hold up. You have to drive from Maraba down to Maraba to Yanya. You just go to Yanya, which is very painful. I don't know what they are doing. Even the Delta State government, I don't know what they are doing. This lane is too bad. From Monday to Saturday, can't you see it? How it's too painful. People are going to work inside town. People are suffering, and this is cause the TP. Now, this is something.
Others, however, declined to speak on camera, lamenting what they described as the government's prolonged neglect of their plight. They are now appealing to the federal government to urgently rehabilitate the road and alleviate the suffering of commuters and residents in the area. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In light of insecurity and the scarcity of equipment to combat banditry, there's a growing shift from dependence on foreign machinery to local-made defense technology. This innovation is not only expected to enhance tactical capabilities on the front lines, but also showcase the ingenuity and sophistication of young Nigerians in technology and innovation. In Katsina, Trust TV's Abdullah Yamidi takes a closer look at the tracked armored personnel carrier developed by Katsina-based engineer Ibrahim Lawal Dankaba. His report.
They say necessity is the mother of invention. In Katsina State, where relentless attacks on rural communities have claimed hundreds of lives, displaced thousands, and led to mass livestock rustling, a new chapter is unfolding. Driven by innovation, engineer Ibrahim Lol Dankaba has developed a tracked armored personnel carrier APC to support government effort in tackling the long-standing security challenges ravaging Katsina and other parts of the Northwest. Dankaba's self-funded initiative began earlier this month, from concept and design to fabrication, using homegrown steel plates molded into armored components, all integrated into a fully functional defense vehicle.
Well, because we understand the challenges, the major challenge being that there are hard to reach areas, the topography, the terrain is tough and rough, swampy, sandy, muddy sometimes. So we said, okay, we have lost a lot of both civilians and men in uniform trying to give us some security so that we can have peace. So we decided to sit down and come up with a product that will beat the challenges of the terrain, that will cross obstacles that is almost unstoppable at some level. So we decided to create this armored personnel carrier.
The locally fabricated components are carefully welded to the APC's frame, offering full bulletproof protection and equipped with a remote control system for monitoring enemies' movements. The robotic turret allows the cabin crew to fire weapons without stepping out, enabling them to gather intelligence and engage targets from a safe distance.
It should be able to detect anyone with rifle, should be able to detect that, and it should be able to tell its location and report back to a base station. It will be the robotic turret should be able to fire at command when commanded, while the gunman is protected inside. So it has lots of more features which are there to be incorporated.
Once certified by relevant authorities, the armored vehicle is expected to boost security operations, protecting personnel from small arms fire, artillery, landmines, and improvised explosive devices, IEDs. Its mobility supports rapid deployment and sustained operations in remote or hard-to-reach areas, particularly across the northwestern states. Its engine versatility is another innovation, designed to run on premium motor spirit, PMS, compressed natural gas, CNG, and diesel, ensuring adaptability in diverse operational environments. Beyond the combat, the prototype APC also plays a logistical role, with a built-in cargo belt for transporting supplies, equipment, and medical personnel to operatives in the field, a lifeline for sustained missions and reduced exposure to ambushes along supply routes.
The hatch, that's the cabin, can take up to 7 personnel, a gunner and the rest, and the driver and other devoted men inside. And it has a cargo bed. The cargo bed can take more personnel, can take deliverables, can take consignments, can take relief materials, can take backup and support materials to troops while during engagement. So,
the Dankaba armored personnel carrier stands as a bold example of how local ingenuity can drive national security resilience, proving that homegrown innovation can be as tactical as it is transformative. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has announced the approved fares for the 2026 Hajj. In a statement signed by the management, NARCON said the announcement followed due consultations with all the relevant stakeholders, including the Forum of States Leadership, and obtaining the approval of the federal government. The announcement comes shortly after the top management staff of the commission, led by the chairman, Abdullahi Usman, embarked on a trip to Saudi Arabia to inspect facilities, negotiate service arrangements, and sign agreements with key service providers ahead of the 2026 exercise. Earlier this year, NARCON had announced a tentative fare of 8.5 million naira for the 2026 Hajj, clarifying that the amount was provisional and subject to review after negotiations with Saudi service providers and approval from the federal government. 2025 Hajj fares were fixed at 8.31 million naira for the Maiduguri-Yola zone, 8.44 million naira for other northern states, and 8.76 million naira for the southern states. However, the management said the 2026 fares had been reduced by 200,000 naira across all categories. The commission also revealed that its delegation, currently in Saudi Arabia, has finalized service arrangements with major providers. The Kwara State Police Command, in collaboration with operatives of the National Security Advisor (NSA), the Nigeria Forest Security Service (NFSS), and vigilante groups, has intercepted a vehicle loaded with tubers of yams, under which 127 bags of substances suspected to be cannabis were concealed. A statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer of the State's Police Command, SP Adeton Ejire Adeyemi, on Saturday said the development was another significant breakthrough in the fight against crime and illicit drug trafficking. The joint operation, carried out on Friday along the Babanla-Oreke-Okeado axis, led to the interception of the vehicle. Two male suspects, Dan Teni Haruna and Rebiu Ibrahim, both of Saliku Magama local government area of Niger State, were arrested in connection with cannabis smuggling. In a related development, the operatives also apprehended Muhammad Abubakar and Hussein, both from Seragi and Tukru Ibrahim, a notorious kidnapper who were allegedly involved in the invasion of Babanla on August 8, 2025. In the business scene, the Nigerian naira has been ranked as the 9th weakest currency in Africa, according to a Forbes currency calculator report for September 2025, underscoring the lingering pressure on Nigeria's economy despite recent signs of easing inflation. The Forbes currency calculator, which sources real-time foreign exchange market data via the Open Exchange Rates API, updates every 5 minutes to reflect live trading values. The system captures the impact of demand and supply, market sentiment, and broader economic conditions on each nation's currency performance. According to the data, the Sao Tome and Principe Dobra, with an exchange rate of 22,282 per dollar, topped the list of Africa's weakest currencies, followed by the Sierra Leonean leone at 20,970 per dollar, Guinean francs at 8,680 per dollar, Ugandan shillings 3,503 per dollar, and Burundian franc at 2,968 per dollar. Others on the list include the Congolese franc at 2,811, Tanzanian shilling at 2,465, Malawian kwacha at 1,737, the Nigerian naira at 1,490, and the Rwandan franc at 1,448, all to a dollar. In contrast, the Tunisian dinar at 2,290 per dollar, Libyan dinar at 5.40 per dollar, Moroccan dirham at 9.91 per dollar, Ghanaian cedi at 12.31 per dollar, and Botswanan pula at 14.15 per dollar were ranked as the 5 strongest currencies in Africa. The National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has raised the minimum threshold for pension fund administrators and pension fund custodians, PFCs, from 2 billion naira to 20 billion naira. In a circular titled Revised Minimum Capital Requirements for Licensed Pension Fund Administrators and Pension Fund Custodians, PENCOM stated that PFAs with assets under management of 500 billion naira and above must now maintain a capital base of 20 billion naira plus 1% of the excess AUM beyond 500 billion naira. It said that the move is aimed at strengthening financial stability and operational resilience. PFAs with AUM below 500 billion naira are also required to meet the new 20 billion naira minimum. Special purpose PFAs such as MPF Pensions Limited must hold 30 billion naira, while while the Nigerian University Pension Management Company Limited is required to maintain 20 billion naira. For pension fund custodians, PFCs, the minimum capital requirement has been raised from 2 billion naira, unchanged since 2004, to 25 billion naira plus 0.1% of AUC. On the international scene, at least 30 people were killed in an airstrike in western Niger. The latest casualties in a part of the country hit hard by Islamist militant attacks and counterinsurgency operations. The strike took place on Monday near a weekly market in the town of Injur in the Tilaberi region that borders Burkina Faso and Mali. The areas had heard activity by groups linked to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda that all three military-run governments have struggled to combat. A witness and resident of the area said the death toll was 37, while a security source said it was more than 30. The government has not issued a statement about the incident. A government spokesperson did not respond to a request for comment on Friday. The security source said local authorities had tried to close the weekly market on the suspicion that militant groups were getting supplies there, but residents ignored the order. Hundreds of mostly young protesters faced off against security forces in Madagascar's capital on Saturday, days after an anti-government demonstration erupted into clashes and looting. Police used rubber bullets and tear gas to disperse crowds at Thursday's protest, which was called to condemn persistent water and power cuts in the impoverished nation, but descended into violence as stores were looted and buildings and cars set ablaze. Demonstrators, including university students, gathered again in Antananarivo on Saturday, holding placards with slogans that included "We are poor, angry and unhappy," and "Madagascar is ours." Mostly dressed in black and with their faces covered, some wore the colored straw hats that have become a symbol of defiance. A wall of security forces prevented protesters from marching towards the city center, and there were reports that police used tear gas to disperse them. An unidentified hospital source said 5 people were killed in Thursday's violence, but no official has released a confirmed toll. It's time for sports updates with Adeniyi Ajishafe.
Nigeria's under-20 women's national team, the Falconets, have sealed their place in the final round of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers after beating Rwanda's She Amavubis in Ibadan. Having secured a slim 1-0 win in the first leg in Kigali, Falconets turned on the star in the return fixture, cruising to a 4-0 victory at Lekon Salami Stadium. Goals from Precious Oscar, Tumenino Additional, Janet Akunkurowe and Alaba Labi Taiwa Falabi completed the rout, sealing an emphatic 5-0 aggregate win. Falconets will face either Senegal or Algeria in the third round of the series in February 2026. Nigeria now advances to the final round of qualifiers as they continue their bid for another appearance at the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. And still in football, the Golden Eagles of Nigeria will face Ghana in the semi-final of the ongoing WAFU Under-17 in Cote d'Ivoire after a goalless draw with Burkina Faso in their final group game. A tie contest between the two teams who had already booked their places in the last 4 in the 3-team group settled for a share of the sport at Stade de Lycée Scientifique in Yamoussoukro in Cote d'Ivoire. Eagles coach Manu Garba kept faith with same starting 11 that beat Benin Republic hat-trick hero George Aga started in attack alongside Boluwatife Thompson, while skipper David Ede recovered from an elbow to start once again. Nigeria's labeled for most of the half barely tested goalkeeper Siri Traore. The young Stallions nearly scored as Nigeria's goalkeeper Great Edafe made a decent save to keep the scoreline even at the break, with the match ending goalless in full time. As Nigeria faces Ghana, Burkina Faso and hosts Cote d'Ivoire with 3 tackles in the other semi-final game with both fixtures at Stade Charles Konabani, Yamoussoukro on Tuesday. The finalists will book their spot at the CAF Under-17 AFCON scheduled for 2026. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe.
And with that, the news hour comes to end on Trust TV. For more of our news, programs and documentaries, do want to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. On behalf of the news production team, thank you for joining us tonight. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Good night.